Hi, thanks for having me.
Nice to have you here. So I'd love to hear a little bit from both of you of a little bit behind the scenes of where you come from and why this topic is important to you. So Colette, how about we start with you?
Okay. My name is Colette Hart, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Adonea. You know, the moment when life hands you a challenge you didn't see coming. That was me in 2019, ready to dive back into my career, bringing years of creativity, skills, and a passion for innovation. But there was one problem: my age suddenly became the issue. So despite having built a career as a UX pioneer, back when user experience was barely a term, I found myself overlooked time and again and again. I would go through interviews after interviews, meet teams after teams, and just when things felt promising, the door would close. Not because I couldn't do the job, but because outdated assumption got in the way. It was frustrating, and honestly, it made me very angry. I realized I could not just accept it. I had to find a solution to challenge and end ageism. Because if the system was shutting me out, it was shutting out a lot of people. That's when the idea of Adonai was born, a platform designed to see people for their skill, potential, and contribution. A place where bias gets left at the door and talent is measured by what you can do, not your age and how you look on paper. So I built the platform that will have hired me, and in doing so, set out the change hiring practice altogether. A platform where every individual is seen for their true potential, not through unconscious biases. That's my story.
And she's sticking to it. I love it. Hi, Helen. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. Um, well, I'm Helen Sanchez, and I am the founder of Tanagi. And what I do is work with women, primarily with women over 40. Um, I do one-on-one coaching. I do classes on building a legacy season, um, prep for interviews, and just helping women build their confidence and really understand how valuable they are and how much they can bring to the table and make a contribution. Because often women underestimate themselves. That's the biggest challenge that I find in working with them. So I've done that for a number of years. Prior to that, I was a recruiting manager for 20 to 30 years and a recruiter before that. So that's the part of it that I enjoy. I enjoy helping people and helping them get ahead. And um, so I just decided that based on my own personal experience, just as with Colette, on my own personal bias and discrimination that I encountered, and on some research I did when I was in school on the impact on women, that's when I decided to go out on my own and build Tanagi.
I love that. I love hearing about when folks go out and build the thing that they want in the world, right? Like Colette was saying, I'm going to build a platform that would hire me. I really identify with that, right? Like the things I'm working on are the things I want for myself. And if I want them, probably other people do too. Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear from both of you. And Helen, maybe we can start with you about how ageism can show up with either too young or too old. There's the over 40, and if you're under a certain age, then it's like, well, you don't have enough experience. So how do people navigate that? How do you guide them through that?
Right. Well, it's absolutely true that, as you mentioned earlier, it affects both ends of the spectrum, especially for women. They're either too young and being objectified, or they're too old and they become invisible, as Colette said. They just don't see you. So I had an interesting person I met a young woman who was in her first job. She was selling for a company. She was very successful. She had a base salary and a commission, and she did so well that she did very well with her salary. So it ended up that her manager came to her and he told her, She was making too much money for someone so young, so he cut her base salary. So, which is, I sometimes get totally confused at how people, especially managers, because I managed for years, how they come up with this statement or this concept or this idea that someone should basically be punished for being successful. But especially young people, I think they encounter that a lot. What she did was go out and find another job. So that worked well for her and poorly for him. And so on the other end of the spectrum, of course, you have women that, as they get older, again, become invisible. I think probably most older women have experienced or witnessed age discrimination and bias in the workplace. It's so prevalent today. So I personally had a position for many years, my last position, where I had always outstanding performance reviews, always top ranked, always good. Yeah. And then a personal event happened that allowed my manager's manager to get a little closer to my age, because most people usually underestimated me. So his statement to me at the time was, "You've been married longer than I was born," which I thought was okay, but what difference does it make? But of course, he had promised me a short time before that the promotion, the next open promotion that summer. And of course, when the promotion came around, he reallocated staff, made lateral moves so that that position that he promised me was no longer available. So that's how he got out of having to meet the commitment he made to me for that position. So that's when I decided, yeah, no, this is not the place to be, and I went out on my own. So I think that I think primarily people have to really have confidence in themselves, not let these people who make these statements, such as "you're too young to make that much money," or your marriage is older than me. Those kind of statements shouldn't let it put them down or make them have less confidence in themselves, because that's on the person making that statement. That's not on the individual. And so I think from the perspective of how they address those things is that they need to then re-examine the inventory, so to speak, bless you, the inventory, so to speak, of their skills and their experiences and their successes, and appreciate everything they've done, and then go out and forge their own path. So
yeah, absolutely. I'd love to hear from you, Colette, about the concept of the ageless workforce. How do you think organizations can shift their mindset to truly value their talent regardless of age?
Well, I would say it starts by letting go of assumptions. Age is not a measure of ability. We need to focus on what people can contribute today, their skill, their ideas, and their adaptability. Well, here are some options of how companies can start making that shift. Firstly, I would recommend mixed age mentorship program. At Adonea, we believe that the best ideas come from different perspectives. Research shows that companies with multi-generational teams make better decisions, foster creativity, and build stronger cultures. And when people feel that their contributions are valued, no matter their age, everyone wins. Teams are stronger, company gets smarter, and work becomes more meaningful. My second recommendation will be skill-first hiring. Skill-first hiring shift to focus to what really matters, what someone can do, how they think, and how they can solve a problem. It's about assessing candidates based on their real-world competency, no assumption about their backgrounds. Why companies should focus on skills and potential? Because they will tap into a broader, more diverse talent pool, reaching candidates who might otherwise be overlooked. They will discover candidates who can adapt, innovate, and drive long-term growth. Because it's not about where someone has worked, but what about they can contribute today. And they will reduce bias, opening doors to incredible talent that traditional hiring process often miss. Ultimately, it's about creating a hiring landscape where skills and potential shape opportunity, and where innovation and diversity become true drivers of success. Thirdly, I would recommend inclusive job descriptions. Sometimes biases start before the interview. It starts with the job description. Phrases like digital native or energetic team player can suggest who belongs and who doesn't. And I know I'm not alone. Millions of experienced professionals are overlooked because of language skills that suggest biases. But it does not have to be this way. Simple changes do open doors. Instead of writing digital native, try proven ability to adapt to evolving technology. Instead of writing energetic team player, say strong collaboration skill across diverse team. Because when bias is removed at the first step, companies invite more talent in and build stronger, more diverse teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Helen, what do you think about especially that like dog whistle language that's going on underneath? Do you think everyone's clocking that, what Colette is speaking to, or is it seeping in on a subconscious level? What is that experience with people you're working with and they see language like that?
I absolutely think it's seeping in on it's like everything. The entire attitude of society toward older people is based on many years of ideas and interpretations of what older people are. And we still see it in marketing, because if we see it in both media and in advertising, the old person is the one bumbling around and can't find their this, or they can't. So it's creating a picture of this is what the older person is. And it's a very, very, very erroneous picture today. But
They should see how much bumbling I do around my house.
exactly.
There's a
And
lot.
even my children forget things, not only me. So
I've
exactly.
witnessed it happen actually with your children.
I know. So absolutely, Colette is absolutely right about the verbiage used in job descriptions. When I was a recruiting manager and a recruiter that worked with big clients, job descriptions were the biggest challenge that we had, just making them understand that they needed to be accurate in their job description, and they needed. How many times have you probably, I know me personally, have met people who took a job based on a job description and an interview, and then got there day one and the job wasn't what they said. And so their whole life was turned upside down for someone that misrepresented things. So we would always talk about the importance of job descriptions, and I think it is very important. And if you can develop, as Colette talked about, a program where you can get something that's very accurate, and also not based on those biases that shouldn't exist. As she said, they'll put in their job description, they don't want someone, or they want someone who's a digital native. That's a big one. Digital native, high energy, cultural fit. And then in an interview, they'll say you're overqualified. How, it's how. But I think that people, older women especially, and I always laugh when the reference to older women is women over 40. And I do that because that's what legally the reference is, women over 40. But to me, you're still a baby, because it's like, really? So but I think that they need, number one, if they're in the workforce and are experiencing microaggressions, they absolutely need to confront those, either with the person, and you can do it politely. But if you make them own what they said or did, sometimes they back off because they become embarrassed about what they've said or done. So they need to address those things. They need to take control of those situations. And if they aren't comfortable doing that, then they should be going to their manager or to HR to express concern with that. But they can never let these things go, because then it just grows. And as far as being noticed in the workplace, they should be taking on another thing that Colette mentioned, mentorship programs. Go suggest them if you don't have one, because if you can get two people on a team, one younger, one older, they'll then understand how they each have something the other one didn't experience right now. So they can make a contribution to each other. I think that looking for training opportunities and for promotions, and again, the older woman becomes invisible, and so she's overlooked for that. So they should step up and ask for those opportunities. And if they get just an off the cuff no, they should pursue it further, because if they have good performance reviews and good record, there's no reason they shouldn't get that opportunity. But women often do. That's part of the reason that you don't see more women in higher management roles in business, is because they don't get up the steps, because they're not considered for the roles that they should be during the process, during the journey. So they should identify those things, or if they're working, get on projects that will give them some visibility. If they're looking for work, again, the thing that I harp on, that there's two things that I harp on a lot, and one is, of course, confidence. Women just get a job done. Women are given something to do, and they just get it done, and then they don't even think about it. But you do need to think about it. You need to sit down and make a list of everything you've done, personally and professionally, every skill you've learned, and how you can, after you've listed them, how they're transferable to whatever you want to do, and then what you liked and didn't like, and that will help you to find a path to follow. So, and it will give you confidence to know that you come to the table with a lot. It's not, the world is not doing you a favor because you make a contribution. So that's important for them to pursue. And they also, networking, that was my other piece that I always pound. Networking. You need to, if you're working, build relationships with people. And because networking is not about, here's my resume, can you find me a job? It's about relationships. So finding people, doing research on, there's so much at our fingertips, and it is time consuming, but at the end, it pays off more than just random applications. If you do research on LinkedIn and filter down to companies, or even on Google, and you look for companies that are doing things that you are interested in, that you have experience in, all of those things will help you. But you need to go to an interview well armed. You need to know about the company you're going to. You need to know the similarities between what you've done and what they need. And you need to sit down and be able to say to them, this is how I can make it more successful. Because a hiring manager or a recruiter are always looking for the person with the lowest learning curve and the best possibility of success, because that makes their job easier. So you need to be prepared to talk about that, and you need to do it in a story format. So you need to talk about where my success was and what was the story behind it. So when that topic or that question comes up, that's how you can address it.
Yeah, because people remember stories more than facts, right?
Yes, absolutely. They'll remember you when you're out the door. Yes.
Yeah. Colette, so you're working, your platform is this innovative AI-driven platform for reshaping recruitment, bias-free. How does this technology play a role in eliminating age biases in the hiring process? And I'd also love to hear a little bit about how you were able to make such a thing, because we know that AI can also have inherent biases baked into the platforms.
Indeed. Um, At Onea, we believe technology is not just about efficiency, it is about fairness. It's about creating a process where every candidate is seen for their skills and potential. We are designing our platform to remove unconscious biases from the very start, ensuring a more inclusive and equitable hiring process. Here is how we do it, and I will share with you a few features. The first feature we provide is anonymized applications. The hiring managers never see names, photos, or demographic details during the early stages. This ensures that first impressions are based purely on skills, experience, and potential. No assumptions. The second feature we provide is immersive evaluations. Here we are exploring ways for candidates to showcase problem-solving skills in engaging, bias-free environments without visual judgment. The third feature we provide is inclusivity insights. We provide tools to help companies track inclusivity and reduce biases, ensuring that hiring processes are fair and more effective. It is about ensuring that no one is excluded because of unconscious assumption. This is especially what Helen was saying. This is especially important for candidates aged 45 plus, who often face rejection despite having the right skills and experience. When age or appearance shape hiring decision, company risk missing out incredible talent. So by focusing on skill and potential, companies open doors to broader, richer talent pool, and that's a win for everyone. I hope this helps.
Yeah, definitely. And how did you go mitigating some of the biases that are inherently built into the platform, into the LLMs when you're working on your own?
Can you rephrase the question again? Try again.
Yeah, sure. I'm curious about to build such a platform. What goes into making it unbiased when your candidates are coming through? How do you do that?
Well, we we use AI a lot,
Yeah.
but we're also using different type of technology to help design an environment where candidates feel safe. And so I cannot really talk too much about the specifics, but what I want to say is that we are using technology, very advanced technology, and for instance, semantic ontology matching searching engine,
Oh,
which
wow.
will help our hiring manager and candidate to meet somewhere in this world that we're creating. So it's a very powerful piece of engineering, but the idea is to keep ethics, fairness, and responsibility. So this is where we are aiming, and this yeah. Next time I bring my CTO with me.
Oh, sure. No. That's
The
not.
more technical question.
Yeah.
Although I'm pretty familiar with all of them, but I feel like he will probably be the best person to ask. But for now, yeah, we have a pretty good vision of Idonea, and we're really proud of our technology and what we're going to overcome with it. We're trying to shift the industry, to be honest, but
Yeah, it needs a
tough.
lot of work. It needs a lot of
Yeah.
work. So it's great to have
Here we are.
like yours as the next generation of, opening up the door, sending the elevator back down, sending it back up. It needs to be remodeled, right? Because these systems are very old, outdated, very biased, and we need fresh tech with people that have experience on both sides of it, right? Like as you said, you were up against this terrible, ageism, and I love that it's a great example how, that thinking is so backwards because you're literally building the thing that is going to fix that when their assumption is you're too old to do something like that, which is just
Yes, that's very interesting. And here we are.
And if I can jump in, I've worked with Colette a bit at the early stages. Definitely not the technology side. I have absolutely no, don't ask me that question, Hunter. But we worked on research on finding out what some of the hurdles were that people were facing and specifics on how they were impacted and so on. So in the creation stages, Colette and I worked on some of that and gave her the feedback. So that's what's part also, aside from her personal experience, part of what inspired her. And yes, I agree with you. when she was talking to me about in those early stages what she was intending to build and the team she was going to put together to do this, I agree, because having been in recruiting for so many years and having known what the construction of the age bias is that's been around for so many years, I was just like, wow, that would be so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I imagine that you're probably both of you are working internally too with intergenerational teams and that you can come
Yeah.
together to do
Yes.
that. So I'd love to hear a bit about firsthand your experience on what that does for you and then what you see happening with people that you work for. Helen, you can kick us off.
Well, because there are 5 to 6 generations in the workforce right now, depending on whether you count the people that are even older than me, which there are some around, it's and because of the change in demographics, it's inevitable that at some point corporations and businesses will have to accept that this is what they need to do. And yes, there are studies and there is research that has shown that the multi-generational workforce, because if I sit down with you, Hunter, you're going to have a different perspective on something than I am. I mean, age doesn't even matter there. Everyone has a different take on what they see and what they understand and what they think is needed. And that always makes for more success. So the fact if you make it then multi-generational, you have young people who have only grown up with the cell phones and the instant gratification and the instant answers, and then you have older people who have been there, done that, gone through the crisis and gone through all of the ups and downs with clients, and so they each have their own contribution to make. And I think one of the most important pieces will be for companies, especially with their management, to train their managers that they need to understand the value. They need to understand how to manage a multi-generational team. I know that Power to Fly has done some other pieces on that, and it's an important thing. Understanding how to communicate to everyone, and it's your responsibility as the manager to make that happen. How to keep the workplace safe, how to keep everyone really satisfied, so you have less turnover, not more turnover. So I think one of the important keys will be training for the companies, especially for their management, and of course, setting up programs like the mentorship programs where they're both mentors and mentees. Those are important because it builds respect for each other and a better understanding of the fact that everyone makes a contribution. So I think, yeah, that's important.
Amazing. Well, we're pretty much out of time here. Colette, is there anything you'd like to leave us with before we sign off?
No, just like thank you for inviting me to give me the chance to speak about Idonea. Thank you for Ellen to, we've been working in the background together a little bit. So Ellen has been an inspiration to my journey with Idonea, and I really appreciate for being here today. So people can understand and know that there is something out there coming, and it's going to help everybody. So yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.
Thank you. And is LinkedIn the best way to reach out to both of you if people want to keep the conversation going?
Yes, or you can I just put my AI, it's adonea.ai.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, if you drop it in the chat, our people will relay it over to
I will,
our
making
global
sure.
group, of course.
Of course, just give me a second. I will.
And in addition to working with Colette and being absolutely amazed at the possibilities, I also have to say, I just love it when she says my name.
I know, right? Isn't it just, it's the best. There we go. Colette's dropped in her
Thank you.
domain. Thank you both so much. It's
Thank you.
a pleasure to see you, Helen. Thank you,
Yes,
Colette.
have a good day.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.